And Debbie, I'm really upset with you. That is not the speech that I wrote for you. And Stan, I don't know when we changed the name from head table to dais, but I can't even say the damn word. So you'll have to excuse me when I say fellow honorees, head table guests, and you, you, our family, our friends, and our fans. I read somewhere a long time ago that if you want to do great things with your life, you must surround yourself with great people. One day, a snot-nosed kid was walking down the halls, Roosevelt, the 7th grader, and a gentleman came up to this young man and said, "Son, you play basketball?" "Oh, yes, sir." "Are you any good?" "Yes, sir." I was never known to be modest. And he grabbed me by the arm, and he took me into the classroom, and he sat me down. And he said, "My name is Coach Frank Mastercola. And if you want to play basketball at Roosevelt, you better never, ever let me catch you smoking again." Now, where this man ever saw me smoking, I don't know, because, you know, that was a big thing back in those days. We all were being tough, you know, with just cigarettes and be tough macho kids from the playground. But where he ever saw that, I don't know. But to this day, if someone would say to me, "Would you like a cigar?" and I would light it up, I would be scared to death that he was going to jump out from somewhere and say to me, "Son, put that damn cigar out." And you talk about great people, Frank Mastercola was a great person. He guided me through junior high school. He became my head coach at the high school. He directed me to Shippensburg University. And when I came back to town 4 years later looking for a job, I had gotten hired by Hollidaysburg. And he found out about it and called me on the phone. And he said, "Did you get a job?" I said, "Yes, I got a job at Hollidaysburg." He said, "You're not going to work at Hollidaysburg. I'll call you back tomorrow." He called me back tomorrow and said, "You're coming to work at Altoona." And to this day, I know that's the reason that some of those people in Hollidaysburg don't like me. A few years later, the Altoona Area School District had the good sense to hire a man by the name of John Swager. John Swager was a great high school basketball coach. I had the privilege of being his assistant for 8 years. I learned more about dogs and how bad they can stink up your car. I learned more about how to feed dogs, 40 of them at times with 50-pound bags of dog food. But I learned more about the game of basketball than I ever thought I could imagine. He was a great coach with a great memory, and he was a great person. Great people like Herc Bitar, my first high school coach. In a game against Johnstown, we're trailing. I'm stinking up the gym. I'm 0 for 22. I wasn't known as a shooter, okay? But I was 0 for 22, and called a timeout. We go over to the huddle, and he says to me, "Keep on shooting. You're going to make one." I finally got fouled. I made 2 fouls. We come over. He said, "See, I told you you were finally going to make one." But he had the common sense, I guess I always like to tell him that, to call a young man at the YMCA one day and say, "Art, would you like to coach the girls?" And I said, "Yes, sir." And 24 years later, as being a head coach of both the girls and the boys at Altoona Area High School, Walter Bitar was always the #1 fan. He was of great support with he and Jack Ray, and the Altoona Area School District gave me the greatest support, gave my program and all of the athletics and Herc Bitar is a great person. We had you find back in those days anybody that had a radio station that followed you, a television station that covered anything that you wanted at any time, and newspapers that were just filling the pages with high school athletics. And I'll tell you, there weren't many of them around the country. And we traveled a lot. You talk about business people who came out of the woodwork whenever you needed help to provide you with a lot of the little things that you didn't have. And they were too numerous to mention, and I don't want to miss any, but I can tell you this, that the business people helped make our program and still make our programs in high school athletics. Great people, the business people and the media that we had. You take a look at Dave Andrews sitting over here and his two amigos, and I mean Larry McAleer and Pat D'Andrea. You never were around three funnier guys when they were working at the best high school basketball tournament in the country than those three guys. And they were Rotarians that brought the best basketball to Central Pennsylvania, bar none. These were great people. You talk about our parents who supported us throughout the traveling, the evenings, the buses, and followed us everywhere we went and gave us support rather than a lot of trouble that you see in the communities today. We had great parents. You talk about fans. Do you remember the days we would go to St. Francis and we would pull up in the buses and the people would be lined clean around the side because they wouldn't let them in? We went to the Pitt Field House to play, and they were lined up outside, down around, the whole way down around the hospital there, waiting to get in. Wherever we went, they were there. By the bus loads, the car loads. When we won our championships, they were there for the young people. And when we lost, they were there for the young people. The great fans of Altoona, what we called the Altoids. And no head coach can do it without great assistants. And I had some of the best people that were assistants who were loyal and dedicated to the program, both on the girls and the boys level. Junior high school coaches who were with me the whole time that I coached the girls program. These were great people. And when you're the athletic director and you're the head basketball coach, and you're the attendance director, and you're the basketball coach, you have to have some great people who are there to cover for you when you have to go do something for basketball. Alberta Ake and Debbie Bartley and Lisa and Julie, they were great people who helped us and our program. And in 34 years of coaching, 10 as an assistant and 24 as a head coach, nobody could do it without great athletes. And I had some of the best. I had kids who believed in what we were teaching, who believed in what we were trying to accomplish. And they believed me when I said to them, if you want to be the best, you have to outwork all the rest. And all of those days when you saw all of those young kids playing basketball, all of those girls playing basketball for all those years at Mansion Park, you know why we were the best. We made every game exciting. We played anyone, anytime, anywhere. We had the first area girls basketball team to go to a state championship. We had the Golden Girls of 88, 80, 86, 87, and 88. We had the back-to-back state champions in 95 and 96. We had league championships. We had district championships. We had Final West Western Final appearances. And we had fans who loved us, and boy, we had fans who hated us. But you know what? They all came out to see us. And it didn't matter where we went. It didn't matter who we were playing. And Jimmy, I think it was Stan, referred to Daddy's little girl. Man, she took a beating. But you know what? She rose to the occasion, and they called her Magic. And do you remember the days that you would go to the field house and watch those mountain lions play, and you'd see that 6'3" outside shooter put in a long bomb and turn around to the crowd and go, okay, where else are you going to find that? But Altoona, and the fans, and my family, and my children, who just did everything that we could do to make our experiences with athletics the greatest. And I read somewhere else a long, long time ago that behind every great man, there is a great lady pushing them or supporting him. For 24 years, I was surrounded by women in my offices, in my practices, in my everyday life. And so I didn't know any better. You know, the women were always there. But I think it was Jimmy referred to cricket field, or Angie, I think, referred to cricket field. And one day, at the NABF tournament, Ray Detweiler and his Alto cadets were going to perform the national anthem. And this Alto cadet group was led down the field by this lanky, good-looking young lady. And I happened to be in the stands. And I said to myself, you know, she looks pretty nice. I think I'm going to try to date her. And unbeknownst to me, that same Frank Mastercola that I talked about put us in the same homeroom. 9:16, I wasn't that bright. But he liked me and he liked her. And he put us in the same reporting room. And from that time on, with a few breaks during the non-basketball seasons, we have remained together. And for 37 years, I have had a great woman, Susan. Two great children, and there's no better feeling to have your children follow you as coaching. As Coach Bowden will tell you, there's nothing like it to have your children be coaches, and I'm honored by that. Tonight, I'm being inducted into the Blair County Sports Hall of Fame, the ultimate honor for me as a coach and as a person. But I couldn't have done it without all of the great people that I told you about earlier. And for all of my athletes, I say thank you, because I have gotten more from you than you have gotten from me. Thank you.